either you're going to, and it's like, I don't know if you remember in the documentary, she says, I don't know who in their right mind allowed this to happen. How did this happen? How did this happen? Well, we all know how it happened. It's corruption. It's that's how it happened. So when Jennifer says we're the guinea pigs, it's like we are the guinea pigs, and if we're forced into arbitration, Jennifer, I hope to God the fact that I didn't get tickets is fine because I was promised tickets based on merchandise sales. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I think that the younger generation really needs to kind of speak up about this like capitalistic nightmare. And I know that like Amy Klobuchar is for capitalism, and that's fantastic. And then you hear Ted Cruz talking about whatever it is that he wants to talk about. And then I'm reading things about Greg Abbott signing into law. So what are they signing into laws? It's kind of like what Jennifer was saying, where we were following that Colorado law that really helps ADA people. Like one of you guys joined the suit because you were upset that you saw people in wheelchair accessible seating. And we actually have Joe, who's in Italy right now, who is going to sit by himself. He's one of my very good friends now. He's going to sit by himself because he could not get a companion ticket. And his two friends who signed up for the second round, they're going to get front row tickets. So he has to sit by himself during the Eras tour in Denver. Like, it's disgusting.
Okay. And so as a disabled person, I don't require ADA seating. But it's like I keep seeing people completely abusing the system, which is really gross and disgusting. Like I see people like, well, we have this one person who is like, I'll break my leg if I have to get ADA seating.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah, we banned them real fast.
Yeah, we banned them. But,
are these high school? I'm sorry. Can I get a demographic?
No, this was like a full-grown man.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, was he being facetious?
I don't know if it was.
Either way, it's
not. But either way,
not
it's
funny.
Gross, but no.
I saw a TikTok where a pregnant woman, and there was a number of people, they were sold tickets to seats that did not exist. So they're just like leaning on the rail the whole show. I mean, that's appalling. Well, how do you not know?
And I saw, ADA seating. That brings up the fact that I saw ADA seating on sale on StubHub for $6,000 a ticket before the show. Why?
And a lot of those people need a companion, so they have to pay $1,200. You know what I mean? Like,
and like I hate this, but like I feel like at a point, what point are we going to literally need to start requiring proof of disability because it's going to be abused? Like I keep seeing people literally like at Disney and shit, like abusing their ADA. Like I see TikToks like how to skip lines for free by pretending you're disabled and shit like that, which is disgusting. So it's like, when are we literally going to have to start carrying around our documents that like show that we're disabled because people can't like let us get what we need?
The hospital makes me. They just can't ask for it. They can't ask you for it. But the thing is I think, and I will go back to a Taylor Swift quote, only the young. I mean, it seems like you guys have a really good head on your shoulders, and it's like you've got to pay attention to legislation. It's every matter of the way. Like, the reason why I jumped on this boat so hard is because I'm pissed off that women don't have basic rights to health care right now in Texas. You know, like, and if it gets swept up by one state, it's going to get swept up by others. So if by that Colorado win, which kind of wasn't a win, like Jennifer said, it had really great ADA protection in there. But it had to be vetoed because it considered bots over humans. It literally said humans. And we could not report it to law enforcement, meaning we could not go to Jennifer and say, hey, this guy who had all the codes and he set up, 40 different accounts, the humans don't have rights. The bots do.
Can I ask what this bill is called?
SB, hold on. Julie, do you have it on hand? Hold on.
SB 217?
Is that what it is? Let me look it up. It's in my TikTok. I told them to call Governor Polis.
Well, and it's even like on Chicago Night 1, Taylor addressed that it was the start of Pride Month, and she's like, how lucky am I to be here performing at the start of Pride Month?
How lucky am I to not speak about, how lucky am I
to... didn't talk about anything going on in Florida.
Like, no, what about the anti-trans bills? What about the anti-trans bills that are literally killing our youth?
I don't know, Jennifer, if this is the direction you wanted to go, but this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I know I'm 40, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is how it starts. I make jokes that I live in Gilead all the time, but I do. I live in Gilead. And the thing is if this huge mega star that everybody's watching right now, and they care so much about her freaking boyfriend, can't sit there and say, this is wrong, just like she, stuck up for Spotify, Apple, or she took her albums off of her catalog off of Spotify. She threatened to do it with Apple. Apple agreed to pay the people. She's for her fans. Thank you. I couldn't get anywhere without my fans. I couldn't have done it without you. People said this was going to da-da-da-da. But you know what she also said during her last speech was, I never thought that a hit saying, did you hear my covert narcissism I disguise as altruism like some kind of congressman? So she flat out admits that she's a fucking covert narcissist, which, most famous people are narcissists. You have to be to have that kind of ego, right? But, that's not an excuse to me. Don't reel me in with your love bombing and then just gaslight me through your entire tour when you know damn well all she had to do is say, you know what, we're gonna redo it. We're gonna redo it. We're gonna push this back a week. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that's been a huge mission with our group in general, Swifties Want Tickets, because we love Taylor's music, don't get us wrong, but we're also not the group to sit here and be like, Taylor doesn't really want us to talk about her private life, we shouldn't. If we think it's a fucking problem, we're gonna say something in the group. And we recognize, that, hey, you can respect someone's music, but also not respect them as a freaking human being.
Oh yeah, I was in the same way. I was on Twitter.
I called her out on Twitter. I don't care. As much as I like her, this is just my best friend is trans, and I know we got on that subject, but my chosen family is drag queens, and I'm from Nashville. And when that whole drag ban bill thing went up, I went in flames because her and Miley Cyrus said nothing, and I called both of them out, and I said, Taylor, I love your music, but I don't give a shit. Wrong is wrong, and you need to say something. I said, and one of my friends was in her video. You need to calm down, one of the drag queens. And I called her out on that too. And I went hardcore on her. Now, I'm not saying she'll ever do anything about it, but I went hardcore on Haley Williams because she's been verbal about things. I'm like, say something about Ticketmaster. I agree. And Robert
Haley
Smith,
Williams
he's
did actually
amazing.
say something about Ticketmaster, but she said it in Europe. And you have to remember that European laws are different than America. It was cheaper for me to fly to London and go see Post Malone in O2 Theater with the flight than it was for me to see him in the United States. So,
it's messed up. Nobody will say anything though. None of the artists will. Pink, all of them that are on tour should say something about what's going on in America. Pink might not be in America yet. Beyonce is not in America yet. But I'm saying nobody will say anything about Ticketmaster. Robert Smith did say something, and he went to them and they told him that he could not charge $20 for his nosebleed seats, that he had to charge at least $50 or more. And this is stuff he puts on his Twitter, and he just airs them. So I don't understand why I know, I do too. And the Mazzy Star, by the way, I love. Anyway, but I don't understand. I make a lot of videos on Twitter calling out certain artists and saying, why won't you say something? Why won't you say something? And then not just Taylor. I just think it's ridiculous that we have to do the fight as fans to get our rights. Congress is kind of helping us, but I think it's sad that we have to be the ones to do this because the artists that are making the money off of us, we have to
undo it. You have to look at it as we have to undo it because what it was is our parents were going to see the Stones. They would go the night of, they'd buy the ticket, or they'd drive to a major city where they were selling tickets. I mean, think about Dazed and Confused. At the end, they're driving to Houston from Austin to go pick up Aerosmith tickets, right? Like, you have to think of this, we allowed this to happen, but we also didn't really understand the ramifications, and like Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam were trying to tell us, and we're just like, well, we don't get it. Like, you just go and you buy a ticket. What's the big deal? But now artists are like you watched in the documentary, they're being threatened. Like, hey, if you speak out against this, you won't get a thing. But here's the thing: if Taylor Swift said, fuck you, Ticketmaster, blah, blah, blah. Do you really think that NRG Stadium in Houston or Tampa or any of these huge NFL places are going to go, nope, we're not going to have Taylor Swift? Hell no. You know how much you're going to make on concessions? They're going to make so much. She is the only person in the world. And you know what? I don't blame Beyonce for not saying anything, because Beyonce, she can't talk. Like, Beyonce should have won for a lot of shit. She keeps getting fucked over. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, and she has the same lawyer as Ticketmaster. Because,
what's happening?
Yeah, she has a 360 deal.
That's right.
So everything she does is kind of a part of Live Nation / Ticketmaster. And I just want to say this is a broader problem across industries with corporate consolidation. You all are bringing up amazing points. Why aren't we seeing more editorials in major trade publications in the entertainment industry that touch on these topics? Well, it's because the same people, Penske Media owns Rolling Stone, Deadline, IndieWire, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, right? So not only are artists worried about an active blacklist, there's no other explanation for that, we're also getting censorship. If you look at the press coverage around Astroworld, that should have never left the news until we got answers of what happened that day, right? And thousands of people injured. So that's why we believe this case has broader implications across the consolidation of corporations in every industry in society, right? And it's going to take fans, regular people, to do this. We are on a media blitz in every town Taylor plays. We're trying to get people on their local news to say, you know what? This is our voice. Why did trans issues become, the danger of drag queens become such an issue? It's because someone at the national level decided everyone should focus on that. Well, we're starting from the bottom up. We are a grassroots movement. This is driven by fans, and we have that power that people with super privilege are not taking advantage of. And that's a damn shame. I'm done speaking.
That was an awesome fucking rant, Melanie. I fucking love you so much. Like, you're absolutely right. And which, like, I don't know how many, youngins we have in this group, but I do think it's really important that you guys start writing these op-eds. Like, put them in your school paper, put them in whatever. Piss off. I love how people, I think it's hilarious how, like, millennials and Gen Z, we have, like, this, like, this thing going on TikTok where we hate each other. And then my sister explained it to me very well. She's like, you're our parents. And I was like, oh, like, I never had kids, so thank God. But the thing is if, you can come together generation-wise, with the Zoomers, and I mean, even some boomers. We've got boomers that are totally willing to be on this, but writing it and just starting with your local school paper, writing to your local paper. The other day I got on ChatGPT and was like, teach me how to write an op-ed, and I want to, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many resources out there that we can just start flooding, and just, honestly, at some point somebody's going to, I'm just going to print this, or, why do I have to do this, or whatever. But the problem is once Taylor stops touring in the U.S., like, people are going to lose interest until, God, Beyonce's already touring, so who's the next? There's no one bigger than Taylor. And the thing that I don't understand, Jennifer, are you still there, is because we were told in our court hearing that the judge didn't even know if he had jurisdiction over our case. And that still sticks with me. Huh?
So that goes back to the remand. So because we had brought up remanding, He made that comment about remand, whether or not he had jurisdiction over this cause of action because the defendants filed the removal to federal court. And so I strongly suspect that he doesn't have jurisdiction and that we are going back to state court.
But my point, like, I guess where it's like, we've been in since March, and I know I feel very passionate right now. But if we're sitting here and he said that in March, and he obviously does not like press. So if any of you guys want to talk about Judge Wu, go for it. I am. But anyway, what I don't understand is how can he be making any rulings of giving them more time or doing anything when he doesn't even know if he has jurisdiction, and it's been months, 3 months now. And then on top of that, how does he have, Melanie sent it to me because I asked, it's 5 cases, 3 were dismissed by Ticketmaster, and then we've got our case, and then there's that other one that you were talking about, the other class actions against Ticketmaster that have all been presented to this same judge, and he can't figure out, what kind of judicial system do we have? And I'm asking you as a lawyer that, a judge can't figure out if he has jurisdiction and just give it back. Why is he still hanging on to it?
Well, unfortunately, it's the legal system, it just has its own sort of cog and wheel system. So in order for the judge to remand it back, it required our motion to remand. So even though we don't get to respond to the removal to federal court, we have to file our own motion requesting that the court remand it back to make and he's not really allowed to do it on his own. And so it took us about a month to draft it because it's super intricate. A remand is based on the value of each case. So their removal to federal court, they claim that each case is more valuable than $75,000, which would put it into federal court. And so since they would not agree that each case is valued at more than $75,000, that's what their remand is based on. So since they wouldn't agree to it, but I totally agree with you. It takes a long time. The wheels turn very slowly in litigation, and things don't move quickly at all. And the defendants just continually drag their heels. But technically, Judge Wu has to get a motion from us to remand in order for him to move the case back to state court, even though there was no ruling on whether or not a removal was correct. It's kind of counterintuitive.
And that's what we're not turning in because we're waiting for that other case. Is that my understanding?
We went ahead and did it because. Okay. At the last hearing, this is on a different case that's been filed by Quinn Emanuel. They're a law firm that's in Los Angeles, and they've got a class action against Ticketmaster for new era arbitration. Right. And in 2021, Ticketmaster changed their provider for arbitrating disagreements with your ticket purchase experience. So because arbitration was passed by the U.S. Senate a decade or so ago, it's just become worse and worse every year. And so now whenever you log on to your Ticketmaster account, just simply by logging into your account, you agree to all of their terms of use, which means you agree when you log on, not when you buy a ticket, not when you put it in your checkout, nothing. By logging into your Ticketmaster account, you agree to arbitrate all your disputes with this new era arbitration. They had a hearing on that May 1st, and it was crazy. So you could not participate in this hearing unless you were in person. I was on the line listening to all the hearings before this one. John Jinga, who's our local counsel, was there in person. As soon as it got to this Ticketmaster hearing, the phone call disconnected. And everyone that was on the phone call was disconnected. And so you had to be inside the courtroom in order to hear the arguments and the ruling of the judge. So both sides argued this. Ticketmaster sent in like 6 attorneys from the coast to argue this hearing in person. They argued it for about an hour and a half, and the judge made no ruling on it. He asked for more briefing from both sides on the issue. The question is whether or not this new era arbitration agreement, where you don't get to have a petition that's longer than 15 pages, you can't do discovery, you can't do depositions, there are no hearings, whether or not this is conscionable. Okay? And there was literally an argument made by Ticketmaster that this was completely conscionable to litigate and arbitrate disagreements this way. And the judge made no ruling on it. He said that it was substantively unconscionable, but procedurally, he was not convinced it was unconscionable. And he needed both of those elements to be met to overturn and to invalidate this arbitration agreement that every Ticketmaster user agrees to by logging on to your Ticketmaster account. So we were waiting for that ruling in order to.
I think this.
We had to wait. We were waiting for that ruling to decide whether or not we wanted to stay in that court. The reason being, if we go to state court and the judge rules against us, Judge Wu in federal court, that's controlling law. So a higher court making a decision on a legal matter of law is a higher decision and carries more weight than a lower court decision. So we were really waiting on a ruling on that issue to know whether or not, because of course if he ruled in our favor, we would just go there. If he ruled against us, we would go back to state court knowing that there was this bad ruling, against us, but still stirring the pot, trying to get a state court judge to rule in our favor. Well, after the judge made no ruling at this hearing, we just said, fuck it. I mean, this is ridiculous. We're just going to remand back to state court. We're going to see how things go there. We'll try to get a ruling in our favor in state court if there is a dissenting, that's what we call it in the law, if there's a dissenting opinion from a higher court judge, which would be this Judge Wu, then we can argue both sides out, but it at least give us a better stance to argue it, right, than just having one ruling that's against us. So, but we just decided not to continue to wait because the judge just does not seem to inclined to make a ruling on this, thereby giving Ticketmaster more time to not answer discovery, to continue to do ticket sales in a corrupt manner, continue to rip off consumers. So that's where we are on that.
So thank you for explaining that again, because that was something that we talk about in our monthly meetings. And if anyone on this call that is not a plaintiff that has any questions about that, because it's really, that's why we're stuck.
So we're probably gonna have to cut this here in about 4 minutes, just because both May and I have things to do, and it's getting kind of long. But I was sorry to cut you off. I was just wondering if any of you would be comfortable maybe having another one of these sessions, maybe next week or sometime in the near future, where we can just kind of have an open forum where you can chat and we can chat and just kind of have another opportunity for more members who aren't here to be able to talk.
And sorry to cut you off, Lexi, but maybe we do this after the next court hearing if it's going to be soon.
Yes, and I promise not to talk.
No, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
It's just there's a lot in this pot. It's like a gumbo. There's this legal, there's legislation, there's lawyers, there's plaintiffs, there's stories, there's feelings, there's all kinds of layers to this particular. I don't know what to call it. It's other than a soup, and it's like I don't want anyone to feel negated that they did or didn't get tickets. And there's also something I want to say, which before, I know we have 4 minutes, but Melanie, I want you to tell the group what you told me when I said I felt guilty that I got tickets. Like,
I felt that way too.
I heard you say that, and Melanie put it perfectly, and I never felt guilty after that. Melanie, do you remember what you told me? Are you there?
Well, this is what I think. I met Jennifer outside the DOJ hearing in January because I come from the Free Britney movement, and I got involved because through my investigation starting, 3 years ago, Ticketmaster Live Nation was the center of all of that. And what also happened within that narrative, I come from kind of media studies, film studies undergrad, is that they made the fans, her fans, feel guilty, right? Like, we're all guilty. We all did this to her. And it's like, no, these corporations flip it on us and make us internalize, all this wrongdoing. But we need to hold the root cause accountable. I don't know if you have a better quote, Jen. But that's what I'm saying is like,
no, just that they did it to us. Like they are the perpetrators. That's what I mean by the gaslighting, the love bombing, the war chesting, all of these words that, like, you hear from your therapist, or I do on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? Like, this is, don't feel guilty that you got to go. Now, obviously, I said it in that interview because that interview was done 6 months ago or so, 4 months, 5 months ago. I don't know. The person I am today is not the person that was on camera. The person I am today is just, I have a different view of Taylor Swift. I have a different view of the music industry, and I have a different view on streaming and artists and everything. And I've just been listening to old records. I will not give them my money until I figure out what's going on. I've also done the writer's strike. You guys should hop on that too, because that was pretty awesome. But I think it starts with the youth, and I would love to have this conversation more with millennials, boomers, Gen X, freaking Zoomers, whatever, or whatever they're called. I want us all to be on the same page, because the only way we're going to win this is to get it to be pulled back. And like Jennifer said, we're the guinea pigs. So if we lose, then your generation has to take it next. Like, it's the only way that we're going to win anything ever. Like, and you shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to go and see live entertainment. It's the one thing that brings us together. Well, it's not the one, but it is. I mean, look at football fans. Come on now.
This is the most nonpartisan issue in the country right now. We all get together and sing songs together, whatever our interest group is. And, Swifties are leading the way. And I feel like the Stan wars have got to come to an end. Like, I'm been very involved in Stan Twitter. And what people need to see is, we all have a common enemy. And our country needs an issue like this so bad, right? To come together.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank everybody that was here, everybody in our audience that stayed to watch through the Q&A and maybe just the discussion, because it was more of a discussion than it was really a Q&A. But thank you, Kinder Law, for doing all this and fighting the good fight. And we'll try to schedule another one of these sometime soon, maybe after the next court move happens, and see what goes on from there.
Sounds good.
Thank you for having us.
Don't forget to write your op-eds, though, in the meantime.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Actually, I'm on summer break, but I'm like also in the middle of writing some other stuff. So, but yeah, like, stand up for what you believe in. Don't let it go unnoticed, basically.
Yeah, if the silence is complicit.
All right. Well,
So, yeah.
bye, guys. I hope you guys have fun.
Y'all
Thank
too.
you all so much.
Take down
Bye.
Ticketmaster. Woo woo. Bye.
Take down Ticketmaster.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.